everyone, and it's so lovely to see you again. I'm Nandita, and I'm here to help you navigate through the second module of birth order and how it affects our personality. In the first learning Byte, we had talked about the personality formation of the first child who's born in the house. In this one, we'll be talking about how the environment, the birth order affects the second born of the house. So does that mean that all second borns are going to behave in the same way? No. If the difference between the ages is more than 5 years, then most likely the second born will take the pattern of the first born. But when the difference is less, when there's the sibling age difference is less than 5 years, the chances are that you would take these patterns which I'm going to describe now more deeply. So let's just imagine, how is it when a second born comes home from the hospital? What is the scenario at home? Well, for the firstborn, it's a little tough. He's been dethroned. Suddenly, he or she is no longer the center of attention. The mother's lap, which was once a playground for the firstborn, has now become a battleground. He has to fight for attention. There's a lot of anger, there's jealousy, there is frustration. And the poor mother, she can get extremely frustrated trying to manage both the babies. The second born tends to suffer because they are more helpless at this point. The fact is, neither of the two babies get her full attention. So how does this early environment impact this young child? Well, just imagine how the environment must be. The mother is harried, she's tired, she doesn't have the energy and the space to cater to both the children at the same time. So let's say the younger baby cries. She's crying because she's hungry or wants to be lifted, maybe there's gas, and the mother has to make an assumption. She doesn't have the time to actually try to find out what the problem is. So she decides, maybe it's food. So she takes a bottle and sticks it in the mouth. And the child, for that time, is satisfied. And slowly that becomes a pattern. Every time the baby rebels or cries, the mother gives him or her food. How does that impact the neural pathways? Well, the child doesn't really know what he or she wants. So when they're crying and you put a bottle in the mouth, as the child grows older, the child might ask for food and starts snacking every time he's depressed. As the child becomes an adult, instead of understanding what exactly he or she wants, they start reaching out for things which make him happy. It could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be other habits, addictions. There's been a lot of research, and it has been found that middleborns are the most prone to addictions. And this is perhaps one of the reasons. In a way, you can say that the middleborns are the most misunderstood of the brood. They don't know exactly what they want. They don't know how to soothe themselves, what to do when they're not getting what they want. And they can spend their entire lifetime looking for something which they can't define. Remember, the core of every child, every living being, is to be perceived as special. And for the middle child, by virtue of being second, everything which he does has already been seen by the parents. The first time he walks, the first time he plays, the first time he says mama. Not that it's not thrilling, but it's not the same thing. And that is perhaps one of the reasons why the child looks for satisfaction not within the family, but often outside the family. His friends become central to his existence. The middleborn is just the opposite of the firstborn. If the firstborn is academically very accomplished, the secondborn is going to make it a point to be absolutely opposite. They would like to be in sports, in fields like sports, theatre, creative, pursuits, as long as it is not over competitive. They can't handle too much of competition. Reason being, somewhere maybe that feeling of continuously competing when they are young gets so much into them that they have almost a toxic reaction to a very competitive field. Their feeling of being small and inadequate as compared to the elder sibling somehow sets them a little back in everything. It could come from the fact that this middle bonds, from the time they are born, have to compete for the parents' attention, and that's something which doesn't go very well at some level. They also end up not earning as much as the eldest child. They are happier being with people, changing their minds whenever they want to. The middleborn cannot find his place in the sun very often by being himself in his family of origin. So he makes the external world his oyster. Middlings love meeting people from different areas, geographies, doing different things. They seem to like everyone and everyone seems to like them. The middle child also has a very strong sense of justice. You will find them fighting a lot for people who are being treated in an unjust fashion. They will speak up for them. And maybe it comes from a space that somewhere in their hearts they feel that they didn't get their space in their own house. So what are the issues with the middle child? Well, the middle child lives in a zone of anonymous haziness. They can get away with a lot. The spotlight is not so much on them. And they can just disappear for a while, be lazy, not make choices. You'll find them doing many things. So they might not excel in any one of them, because their interests are so many and so varied. Because they are intrinsically insecure, they have a tendency to be secretive. They won't tell you everything. They will be actually almost obsessively secretive at times, I find. It takes them a lot to open up. They blend very well in any surrounding, but their core remains unknown to most people. Because the middlings are often very insecure and seek external validation, they can end up giving too much of themselves in relationships. A little too much. They expect less. Or rather, they don't demand much. They might expect more, but they demand less. And the result is that people take them for granted. So the relationships at some point of time can break because of that, because they don't ask, they're not assertive by nature. And it can lead to a lot of deep hurt and scars. So before I end this learning bite, let me share something very personal from my life. I'm the third of my siblings, and I have two elder brothers. And about 12 years ago, just before my mother passed away, we were having a discussion about whether parents love one's child more than the other. Actually, it was not a discussion, it was an argument. I was very sure, and that I was very sure that parents love all the children equally. And she was a little uncomfortable that she kept saying, no, that's not true. We love one child more. After some time, I asked her, I said, So do you love one of us more than you love the other ones? She looked very sad and very troubled. And very softly she said, yes, I love the middle one the most. I was surprised because he was the one who was the troublemaker. He was the one who would be doing all kinds of things. And I asked her why. Why do you love him more? I thought I would be the one. And she said, because he's my weakness, because he's the weakest. Your elder brother and you are fighters, you're survivors. So after I go, I'm not worried about you. I know you'll find a way. But when it comes to him, he's very vulnerable. He'll get lost. And maybe that is why I feel I love him the most. He's my weakness. You are my strength. And it made sense. Because I feel that the truth of life is there. It's not in black and white, whether you love someone more. We love people because they're vulnerable, because they need our help at times. So with that, I come to the end of this learning bite. I hope you enjoyed it. We shall see you again next week. Thank you so much for listening.